I'm Jack, and welcome back because I'm going to review the second Venom movie, also known as Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It stars Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, Woody Harrelson, Naomie Harris, and many more, and it is directed by Andy Serkis. And it is, of course, the second Venom movie. And before we get started, I will let you guys know it's a non-spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, you are safe. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below in the comments section, primarily description, and so is at the bottom of the screen. So don't forget to do that while you're at it. And with that said, let's get started. Set after the events of the first movie, Venom Let There Be Carnage follows Eddie Brock, who's, of course, bonded with the symbiote known as Venom, and they team up and they must deal with their issues while also coming to terms to facing a new enemy in the form of Cletus Kasady, a very dangerous serial killer who bonds with the symbiote and unleashes havoc and calls himself Carnage. Before I start talking about what worked and what didn't work, I just want to say that I have been looking forward to this movie since the first movie, but there was a character that I was really excited to see for a while, and that is, of course, Carnage. I am a huge Spider-Man fan, so seeing Carnage in live action has me really excited, and I was hoping that this movie would do him right. And it's safe to say that Venom Let There Be Carnage is a movie that I thought was even better than the first one. It takes a lot of the things about the first movie, even what worked and what didn't, and it just does it better in this movie. And so now we kick off the positives, and the first thing that comes to mind is I thought the acting was really good in this movie. Tom Hardy feels a lot more comfortable as Eddie Brock. I really love him in this movie, especially with his dynamic with Woody Harrelson, Michelle Williams, and even the symbiote. And Woody Harrelson as Carnage is easily one of the best parts about this movie. Again, because I was so excited to see him, I really liked how he was portrayed. Woody Harrelson was really great in this role. And Michelle Williams, she doesn't do as much in this movie as she did in the first movie, but she did good with what she had to work with and with the amount of screen time she was given. And I really liked Naomie Harris as Shriek. I won't go into details with her character, but I liked what they did with her, especially with how she factors into this story. And I thought the whole cast was good for the most part. And the second positive, I thought, was the humor. If you liked the humor in the first movie, then you're most likely gonna have laughs with this one. If not, this probably won't do anything for you. But I thought this movie was very funny, especially because of the dynamic between Eddie and the symbiote. They have had a lot of funny moments that left me just die of laughter, and it's really great. I really enjoyed those bits in the first movie because they were easily the best part about it. And they just took that and they elevated it in this movie, and I really dug that. The humor is good. Whether it lands or not is up to you, but for me, it worked. It hit the right notes for the most part for me. The third thing is I thought the visuals look really good. I thought the visuals for Venom looked really good in that first movie, but I thought he looks great, and especially Carnage and Shriek, and with the abilities and all that. I thought visually it's a good movie. It's really good when it comes to that. And there were a few weird look editing moments with the CG, but it didn't bother me. It didn't really ruin the film for me. So that's that. Another thing, the action sequences are awesome. They are a lot better than what's in the first movie. And I just really loved seeing Venom and Carnage fight each other. And it was so good, especially after all these delays and waiting for it. It was worth the wait. The action sequences were really cool. They're very well choreographed. And luckily, no shaky cam. And it's shot very well. So, yeah, seeing Venom and Carnage at it with each other is so cool to see. And then the next thing, I was nervous about this, and that is the runtime, because it was confirmed to be an hour and 37 minutes. Compared to the first movie, that's 20-something minutes shorter. But it's also shorter than a lot of comic book movies nowadays. So I was skeptical about the runtime a little bit. But I had faith in Andy Serkis because I really like him as an actor, and I had a feeling that he was going to do something great with it. And luckily, my fear instantly went out the window. I loved the pacing. It is so fast-paced, and it did not once feel rushed or dragged throughout the entire runtime. In just an hour and 37 minutes, it told everything it wanted to tell. Nothing felt unneeded. Nothing felt just too thrown in there or unnecessary. It told all it needed to. And it was paced very well. By the time you're like 30, 40 minutes in, you're already in the middle, and it's progressing so well. And I really dug that. Because in the first movie, it takes a bit for Eddie to bond with the symbiote. But here, the pacing is so smooth. And I really liked that a lot. And so it's a very well-paced movie, especially with how short the runtime is. Next, I feel like the story is also a lot better than in the first movie. Because the first movie was about Eddie bonding with Venom, but then they had to take down Carlton Drake. This movie also has a storyline revolving Eddie and Venom, and I'm not sure if this is a spoiler, so I will not name it. It's a good story. I do think they did it well for the most part. I had a couple of issues with it, but I will go into that in the negatives. And last but not least, it's also a darker movie. So it's a lot more violent than the first movie, and it's also a lot more darker, and there's a lot more moments that's going to be a little bit much for some people. And, of course, then I got to mention Carnage. Much better villain than Riot. I really like Riz Ahmed as an actor, but I did not think Carlton Drake was that good of a villain, primarily because of the writing for it. But here, Carnage was terrific. He was menacing, he was evil, he was dark, he was all he needed to be. And I was extremely satisfied with how they handled it, besides a few things. And with that said, those are my positives of Let There Be Carnage. Now, let's head into the negatives of Let There Be Carnage. First thing that comes to mind is I think the movie should have been R-rated. Granted, it feels more like a hard PG-13, but because you had characters like Carnage and Venom in the movie, and especially with the action sequences and all that, I think they could have done a little bit more with what they could have done with it, especially maybe in terms of violence. And I really wish they made it R-rated so that they did not hold back from the action, and they did not hold back from how dark a character like Carnage is. Because while it was really awesome seeing Carnage in action, I feel like they really held back with the violence, even though Carnage is a very violent character himself. So I wish the movie had an R rating so that this movie could have done a lot more with those action sequences and a lot more dark things with these characters. And the second thing is, without spoiling it, while I loved Carnage in this movie, I did not like exactly what they did with him in the third act in his final few moments. Granted, with a character like Carnage, there were a lot of things I was really looking forward to. And while they checked out a lot of those boxes, checked off a lot of the boxes, there was one thing they did in the third act with him, and I was not really a fan of it. It just felt like they were going somewhere really good with Carnage, and then, boom, that happened. And I wish they didn't do it, but it is what it is. It fits the story, but I wish they didn't do it because of how awesome it is to finally see this character in live action. All in all, I had a fun time with Venom Let There Be Carnage. I think it's better than Venom, and it gives us a great villain, it gives us awesome moments, and it gives us some good acting and visual effects, and we got to see Venom and Carnage duke it out, and that is really awesome to see. I'm going to give Venom Let There Be Carnage a B+, and I recommend seeing it on the big screen if you are a fan of the characters and Venom and Carnage. So yeah, if you love Venom, the first movie, you'll probably have a really good time with this movie. If not, this movie is probably not it for you. But do so if you really like Venom, Carnage, or anything related to Spider-Man. So with that said, I could do a spoiler review for this video. It could happen, but we'll just have to see. And with that said, those are my thoughts on Let There Be Carnage. What did you think about this movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more.
I say either. You guys say either. I say neither. And I say neither. Let's call the whole thing off. Ta-da! Catch up.
Excuse me?